Krishna, dear devotees, I would like to welcome you all to His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj's daily online course discourses. Thank you all for joining today. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, we'll be continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse number 6.
6. Okay.
Yes. Let me. Um,
I need to get a full screen here somehow.
Can you see what I'm sharing?
I can see, but my screen is full with other stuff too. I want to get a full screen here somehow. I have to push one of these buttons here, some button. Let's see. Full screen. Okay, we got it. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yasmin Nahani Aryeva Bhagavan Utsar Sajagam Tadaivehanuvritam Sa Adharma Prabhava Kilaha. The very day and moment the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, left the planet, Earth, the personality of Kali, who promotes all kind of irreligious activities, came into this world. Personality of Godhead and his holy name, qualities, etc., are all identical. The personality of Kali was not able to enter the jurisdiction of the earth due to the presence of the personality of Godhead. And similarly, if there is an arrangement for the constant chanting of the holy name, qualities, etc., of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no chance at all for a personality of to enter. That is the technique of driving away the personality of Kali from the world. In the modern human society, there are great advancement of material science, and they have invented the radio to distribute sound in the air. So, instead of vibrating some nuisance sound for sense enjoyment, if the state arranges to distribute transcendental sound by resounding the holy name, fame, and activities of the Lord, as they are authorized in the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, then a favorable condition will be created. The principles of religion in the world will be reestablished, and thus the executive heads who are anxious to drive away corruption from the world will be successful. Nothing is bad if properly used for the service of the Lord. Gyan timidandasya gyanajana salakaya chaksun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatyanes. Nothing cold should be offered to him. If the vegetables are cold, eat them up. Huh? Vanchakalpatarubhischa kripa sindhubheva-cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaho namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. You have to judge what is hot and what is not. Warm is good. Okay, so transcendental sound is the source by which the universe was formulated. All of the universe, the material energy. In fact, everything comes by way of sound. Everything is transmitted but through the process of sound. Sound can create, sound can maintain, and sound can also destroy. Now, we're talking here about transcendental sound, or that sound that is above the three modes of material nature. That is superior to any material sound. In fact, all material sound is just a covering over all other forms of sound, which are the process by which everything exists. The vibration. Life is vibration. And when vibrations are low, then there are so many difficulties on all levels, people's mentality, people's health, and everything. As you raise the vibration, you raise also the quality of people's material life we're talking about. And so sound is that medium by which we can raise and lower vibrations like that. Sound is very powerful. But when it comes to transcendental sound, it's superior to all forms of sound because it's not interfered with by anything material. When transcendental sound is there, it pushes out and overshadows material sound. So the sound vibration is the glorification of the Lord, because that sound is not only travels within the area where it's being emitted, but it travels way beyond that also, because transcendental sound is not limited by material space. So here it says the technique for driving away the personality of Godhead is the chanting of the holy names, qualities, Prabhupada said, etc., means forms, activities of the personality of Godhead. So people are always wondering how I could become Krishna conscious, and this is the program right here. Sound, transcendental sound. Invite transcendental sound into your consciousness. The more you do, the more that sound will transform your consciousness above the material into the spiritual, where there is no inebrities and on the spiritual platform. And when the sound vibration is the names of the Supreme Lord, particularly the designated chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, that sound can purify the entire material existence. It's so powerful. When it's chanted purely, of course, as it says here, that sound must be, Prabhupada says, done in a favorable condition and distributed according to given by the acharyas. In other words, we have to follow the standard by which that sound is given. So that standard is to consciously apply the mood of glorification to the process of sound. So when we want to glorify the Lord, or we take the opportunities to glorify the Lord, we do it in a way that is not just some mundane emission of some sound. It's done with some enthusiasm. It's done with some force behind it. And that force also gives that sound much more effectiveness as it goes into the ears, the hearts, and then even into the atmosphere. So this is the way to overshadow Maya or material energy and bring about an atmosphere of peace, prosperity, and spiritual happiness through this process of glorification of the Lord by using the name, form, qualities, pastimes, like that. Devotees have somehow understand this theoretically, but in a practical example, we find devotees don't put enough time or energy in that, and therefore they struggle because they spend much of their time with material sound vibrations in order to maintain and propagate their activities in the material world. And that's why there are so many difficulties we have. Therefore, if we're chanting, and we're chanting regularly, even when we're not chanting on the beads, there's a saying in Bengal, 16 rounds, no, actually the saying by Srila Prabhupada. He said 16 rounds on the beads and innumerable rounds off the beads. Chant. What is stopping us from chanting all day, or as much as we can remember the power of chant? It's just forgetfulness, laziness, or just a lack of understanding what is the power and quality and the unique position of Krishna's holy name. One of my god brothers, I think I mentioned this a few times, using this as an example. He's a powerful preacher till today, and he preaching in one area of the world, which was his area for development. And people were coming to him regularly every day with problems. And he was meeting many people throughout the day, every day, with problems. They wanted this problem, this question, that question. So he became a little bit overwhelmed, and he started to think. Again, the problem is that people just don't take enough time and energy and don't give enough importance to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So he decided to give every class for the next 1 year. He was preaching regularly. Every class for 1 year, something on the glories of the holy name, the power of the holy name, the position of the holy name. The holy name became the subject for every one of his classes. And he told me personally, he said, after doing that, more than 50% of the problems were gone. And that's the problem. Krishna consciousness is really easy, but we just don't give it enough time and energy in order to develop it. And of course, one has to practice it according to the Acharya's directions. Therefore, it says that to chant is wonderful, but to chant in the association of devotees is even more wonderful. And to chant in the association of seniors and devotees fixed in the process of devotional service is the perfection of the activity of sadhu sangha, like that. So chanting and then reading. Reading is another form of chanting. We're hearing the sound vibrations coming from the literary incarnation of the Lord, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, these prominent scriptures. They're also sound vibrations that have been placed on paper. But the sound vibration is alive. It's not like just ordinary words on a paper like you read in the mundane books. These words are alive. They have power and they have effectiveness when we read them. If we're reading them with absorption, in other words, we're actually trying to read them and hear them nicely and also understand. Also, this chanting of the holy name there's one statement that glorifies the chanting of the holy name in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It says that in the verse glorifies the holy name. I think it's the second canto, first chapter, verse number 12. And in the purport, it says that By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can synchronize all stipulated energies from all sources. It's quite a technical statement. One can synchronize all stipulated energies from all sources. That means the world, the creation and even the manifestation is made up of transcendental sound energy. And to bring that energy into one focus, one area, the chanting of the holy name does that, because the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is Krishna himself. So all the power and all of the qualities of all of existence are found within the holy name. The holy name is not simply a sound vibration of the name only, it's the entire principle of perfection of existence, because Krishna's name is Krishna. There's no difference between it. Of course, we may have not realized that, but we should accept that is the principle. The holy name is Krishna himself. So when we're approaching the holy name, we're approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly through sound, which is, he can appear in sound, he can appear in different material elements as he does in the form of a deity. He can appear in literary manifestations as he does in Srimad Bhagavatam. He can appear in his own transcendental food that was offered to him, known as prasadam, that is also non-different than Krishna. So the Lord is absolute in all aspects of his existence. But everything has been centered around chanting of the holy name. So as we take advantage of chanting of the holy name, that's why if you really take some time and read the scriptures, you'll find that chanting 16 rounds is just a principle to get you to the point of chanting regularly. That's all it is, because actually that's mentioned by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He explains that if you chant every day, you'll come to the point of chanting always. And that's the goal. The goal is to remember Krishna always. And the easiest and most effective and most powerful way is to chant. So when you're chanting, you're with Krishna. And if you are absorbed in that chanting, you can experience his personal presence through the sound vibration of his name. He comes in the form of uplifting your consciousness to a higher state of clarity. Everything becomes clear. Everything becomes easy, natural. Nothing becomes difficult anymore when you're connected to the holy name. So this is what's being said here. So Kali couldn't make his entrance unless the Lord actually left. So that same analogy, that principle is analogized in this particular verse, that the material energy and all of its difficulties cannot enter into the mind or even the life of a devotee who is connected with transcendental sound vibration. When Krishna is personally present, Maya or illusion, in this case, Kali, who is the personification of sinful activities, cannot enter. So although the world is full of Kali's influence, people are actually following Kali by illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling, and various other forms of sinful and irreligious activity. And the devotees are surrounded by that. Wherever we are, we find that the world around us is just glorifying these lower qualities and focusing on that. Just like the idea, people are working hard to make money, and they'll do whatever they can to make money. And so they also commit offenses and sinful activities in the process of trying to squeeze out more and more opportunities to make money. Cheating becomes there, lying becomes there also. Uh, what is it? Nepotism, so many forms of, so many bad qualities uh, come when people become greedy for money. And that's pretty much the prominent mood today, where people want more and more facilities to enjoy, and therefore they need more and more money to enjoy like that. So this is what we struggle. But then the devotees, if they're chanting and they're surrounded by the spiritual energy, they're like in a bubble. It's like an impenetrable bubble that cannot be broken by the sound vibration of Maya's existence. That chanting is like a protective coating, a sense of an armor, away from all of the um, frivolity of the material energy and all of the uselessness of it also. So yeah, Kali's there. He's also very smart. He uses his intelligence how to trick you into following his program. But if devotees are always chanting, then Kali cannot even come close. He stays far away because that energy field automatically pushes him away from the devotee. He can't even enter in no ways. But he's very persistent. So if he can't enter in one way, he tries in another way, like that. And he has his agencies, or I might say his agents, his followers, who work very dutifully under his control. And he knows how to trick and use various types of deceptive methods in order to get the living entities to follow his program of degradation. And that's Kali. But the holy name is superior in all aspects, and it is the process of realizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like that. When someone asked Prabhupada, how do you feel when you're chanting? Prabhupada said, I feel fearless. I'm without fear. Yeah. So the devotees, that's an experience. How many people are actually without fear? Prabhupada was talking about that this morning. He says the time factor is the fearful agent in the material world. He was explaining the power of the time factor, that if people don't fear anything, they do fear the time factor, because the time factor is immovable, invincible, unstoppable. And it moves things along from one situation to another. And whatever people have becomes less as the time factor continues. And ultimately, one loses their body under the influence of time. So time is very powerful. And time is Krishna. Krishna says, time I am, destroyer of all these worlds. He makes his point when Arjuna saw the universal form of the Lord, he was overwhelmed. And then he asked, well, who are you? And the Lord responded, I am time. I've come to, take everything that you find in this world to be important. So time is very powerful, and no one can thwart the time factor, no matter how powerful they are. Some people try. Prabhupada talks about people who have tried to overcome the time factor by creating situations where they, just like now they have this thing where you can pay large amounts of money, and you can, when you die, they can take your body and freeze it and so it doesn't decompose. And then when they find the secret of life, they can inject it into you, and then you're back again. But this is another fallacy. Can't work because people are under the influence of their, what we say, activities. And the law of karma daivana training, rules the material world, and time factor is a supportive element of the karma. Both work hand in hand together, so no one can get around these two features, although they try, but it's futile. Better to use one's time in going above the material energy and come to the spiritual platform through the process of devotional service. So here, yeah. So Kali is, we'll read as these verses start to unfold more and more, how Kali makes his entrance. And he does it in the most, what we say, unlikely way, but he does it. Okay, so we can stop there and see if there's any comments or questions.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you very much for that wonderful class. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we'll open up for Q&A on this very powerful topic. I'm sure you have many questions, realizations. You can raise your hand to ask a question. Alternatively, you can put your questions in the chat window and I can read it on your behalf. Another a request, my humble request, if you can turn on your cameras, if you can, and then we can make this session more interactive and personal. Thank you. So Maharaj, we already have a question in the chat window by Scarlett Mataji. She says, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to your holiness and assembled devotees. May I humbly ask, is Sri Hari the same as Krishna?
When you say Sri, yeah. Hari can mean many things, but when you say Sri Hari, then that's Krishna. Hari also means one who takes away. So yeah, that's another meaning of the word Hari, one who takes away. But Sri Hari is Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have a question whilst the devotees contemplate about the topic. You mentioned about so much material vibrations and material sound that is out there, and the presence of transcendental sound in the form of either chanting of the names, his activities, his glories, is all auspicious and all beneficial for the whole world. So Maharaj, what is the qualification for one who, let me rephrase it. What is the qualifications of one who wants to speak about Krishna? Because the more you speak about Krishna's pastimes, that is also beneficial because it is absolute and the one and the same platform. So what is the qualifications for the speaker in order for him or her to broadcast the holy names? Or
yeah, just read the pastimes, hear the pastimes. Hearing precedes speaking. That's why we say Shravanam Kirtanam. Kirtanam means, vocalizing. So Shravanam is first. The more you absorb yourself in Shravanam, the more we might say, even urge for Kirtanam starts to manifest more and more. If you're hearing nicely, you're going to want to speak about it. So Prabhupada gave a very simple statement. He says, preacher means reader. If you want to speak, read. You want to speak, hear more. And whatever you hear, you can speak that much. But if you want to make it a regular thing, then you just read. We got these books. What are they for? Not for making our room look very pretty on the shelves. or for just using the duster that we bought the other day. It's not. These books are for reading.
Maharaj, sometimes devotees says, including someone very close, including myself as well, when somebody's requested to talk about Krishna, then the immediate response that comes out is, I'm not qualified, and then they retract. So obviously, what would be your response to encourage those situations?
Well, I know what Prabhupada would say. You say you're not qualified. Prabhupada would say, well, then become qualified. He wouldn't. He never accepted the excuse for not doing something.
Mm.
If you want to do something and you're not qualified to do it, then become qualified. Even Prabhupada said, devotees would sometimes say, Prabhupada, I don't have any intelligence. And Prabhupada said, then get some. He didn't leave it at that.
Thank you, Maharaj.
That's how Prabhupada answered these questions. He wasn't interested in hearing reasons why you can't do something.
Thank you, Maharaj. We have a.
Was that famous saying? What's the word? I'm sure. Yeah, let me think about it now. I'll get it. Impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. That's what he used to say. Because with Krishna, everything's possible.
Yes, Maharaj. Manisha Mataji, you have your hands raised. Would you like to go ahead and ask your questions?
Yes. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, what mood should we have at the time of chanting? Sometimes we listen carefully, sometimes seeing beautiful picture of Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, and sometimes we pray while chanting. So what should we do?
The sound vibration of your voice is somewhat amplified and it's not coming through so clear. I didn't catch the question itself. If you can speak slower, I think that'll make the sound vibration less vibrant. Speak a little bit slower and ask the same question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Slow, yes.
Maharaj, my question is that what?
Slow, nice and slow.
Hare
Otherwise,
Krishna.
yeah, the transmission of the sound is not clear. But if you speak slower, it'll be clearer.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
I can hear, but to understand what you're saying is another thing. So speak slowly.
Okay. My question is that what mood should we have at the time of chanting? Sometimes we listen carefully, sometimes sing beautiful picture of Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, and sometimes we pray while chanting. So what should we do?
I heard, what mode should we have at the time of chanting? You spoke that slow, and then you went real fast again, and I didn't hear anything. Unless somebody else can hear, if you have to speak like very clear and mechanical. And it's your computer that's making the sound vibration hard to hear.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I think she said, what mood should we have when we're chanting? Sometimes I think she said we look at the picture Radha Shamsundar, Yeah, I missed the last bit, but I think she was asking about what type of mood she should have when chanting.
Yeah, mood of calling out to Krishna in a helpless way. We're in this material world. We're surrounded by material energy. Don't think you're don't think you're ever safe in this world. This place is dangerous. Very dangerous place. So a devotee knows, padam padam ya vi padam. Yeah. It's a very dangerous place. So we're in a very helpless situation here. We need, nothing can save us except Krishna. We surround ourselves with so many things to give us protection or what we say support in this world, but they can't because they also need support. But only Krishna can. So when you chant, you're chanting in a way that Ayi Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishyame Bhavam Buddho Kripaya Tavapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrisham Vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servant. Somehow or other, I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and make me as one of your atoms at your lotus feet. That's a prayer by Lord Chaitanya. So we're calling out helplessly. That's the mood of chanting. We're not trying to conquer the holy name with our chanting. We're trying to approach the holy name in a mood of helplessness. And hear nicely.
Thank you so much. Please.
Okay, yeah. Unless we understand we're in a very difficult situation being in this world, we can't really chant with feeling. To try to chant with some feeling. All right, if you're chanting also to the deities, you can also chant in the mood of offering your love to them. My dear Lord, I'm trying to love so many things in this world, but it's all useless. But I know that if I give you my love, you'll be able to accept it. No one else can accept my love except you. Because he can, yeah. So if you try to offer your chanting in the mood of loving Krishna, that's very pleasing to Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you. Maharaj, just to add on, maybe after I'll ask the question after Sridevi Mataji. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Dinanath. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, on this subject of sound vibration, how important it is to hear the holy name when chanting. I have this doubt because sometimes my voice just gets tired and gives out, and then I cannot chant. Means it's like almost like a whisper, like a loud whisper, because my voice just won't go on anymore. So
you're tired, that's all. It's due to being tired, that's all.
So should we wait till we get the energy and chant with the proper sound?
Well, if you find yourself doing that, and then you may also continue to chant, but at a lesser sound vibration. But in any case, you have to continue to hear. If it becomes too less, and the mind just takes over, and you're chanting, but you're not hearing, then you'll get very little from that chanting. So sometimes when I get like that, I just drink a glass of water and then I come back to the chanting. Or do some stretches and somehow loosen up the body, try to bring some more energy in.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Maharaj, following on from Mataji's questions earlier on about, you mentioned about we are in a precarious situation, and you know, we have padam padam yadvi padam, and with that emotions and that fear, we should chant, and with emotions, and that the chanting hopefully becomes more serious. But what happens is that the mind constantly tells you that everything is okay. It's not that bad. You still have time. So when somebody is in a bad health, financially distressful, either health-wise, social-wise, fame-wise, then that emotion comes because you are in a vulnerable situation and you want to take shelter. But rest of the time, the Maya makes you think everything is okay. You still have time, your health is good, and just relax.
When everything is going good, we think that's the way it's going to be, and when everything is going bad, we think that's the way it's going to be. So, it's like it's just the dictations of the restless mind. That's all. Anything can happen at any time. Some idiot could push a button and all of a sudden a bomb drops on a city. There's a lot of idiots in the world. They may decide to do that. Don't think because you're in London, you're safe. If I were, it's probably one of the more dangerous places to be in the world nowadays. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Prabhupada was walking in Denver. He said here, when he was on a morning walk and they were passing through a nice little green area. He said, everything is so nice here, but at any minute there could be fire and the whole thing could be changed in just in a second. I mean, look at the people in the Twin Towers. All of a sudden, the whole thing blew up and more than 2,500 people died. They were all sitting in their offices doing their work. Next minute, they're gone. This world is very dangerous. There was one person, he was, his program was health. So he came up with this diet called the mucusless diet. And it's centered around mostly eating just fruit. And he was from Germany. He came to America. He wrote some books and became quite notable. And he started doing tours in different cities. And then they tested him to see how his health was. And his health was like optimum, perfect health. And then he was talking about how one can attain ideal health through this diet. And then one day he was giving a public lecture, and he came out of the lecture, and he's walking along the street, and there was something slippery, either some oil or something on the street. And then he wasn't aware of it, and he slipped and he fell and he hit his head and he died. So he died healthy anyway. That's good. So whether you die healthy or you die, you're still gonna. The material world is like that. It's a very uncertain place. But therefore, one has to take shelter of the Lord at all times. And if there's no physical difficulty, then difficulties will come in on the emotional level, on the subtle level, on the situation level. There's always difficulties in this world. Remember Krishna. That's the highest religious principle, just to remember the Lord.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, we've got one question in the chat and two hands raised. So let me ask the question in the chat first. It's asked by Shri Advaita Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for your wonderful class. You mentioned that one should chant in the association of devotees. But how can we follow this if we live far away from the temple? I have also heard that one can invite the spiritual master to chant with them. How can one do so?
Well, you have to use the media to try to somehow or other bring about some association. They have these programs now where people get online in the morning and they chant their japa together. There's a few of these programs around the world. Here we're associating with devotees all around the world through this program here. There are people in India, there are people in Europe, people in America. We're all here. There's not many of us, but we're in different places around the world. So we're hearing Bhagavatam, discussing Bhagavatam. Now this is association also. So take advantage of the media, and whenever you can, check out your local areas and see whether you can also create association by your own efforts. You can call some friends over and have a little program. Where there's a will, there is a way. And that's not so hard. If you want association, it's available. If you find reasons why you can't get it, then those reasons will be the reasons why you can't get it.
Thank you, Maharaj. Amritanam Mataji, do you want to go ahead and ask your question, please?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Guru Maharaj, more of a question. I wanted to share the realization on chanting. We talked today about the mood and during the chanting. So, I personally have a lot of things like helplessness is also there in my chanting. Then I don't say predominantly, but helplessness is there. Then yes, I do have some fears while I'm chanting. Then gratefulness is there. So predominantly, I feel the gratefulness which is coming out, which I can really reflect on. But although there are a lot of other mixed things, and then sometimes I really get confused in all these things. So what am I going through? I feel like that. So at that time, I switch on to spiritual master. Is this a right attitude of in chanting, or there's something going wrong?
It's only the mind that takes you on these different excursions. So You just have to control your mind, that's all. Focus your mind, that's all. Sometimes it requires an effort. Focus your mind, that's all. Focus your mind on the positive. Negative thoughts have no reality in existence. They're just shadows, that's all. You have to
But the
focus.
mind is
You
the
just have-
mind is so overpowering us that you don't actually realize these are shadows. How do we understand it?
you just have to realize your mind is a monkey, that's all. That's all. And you have to either get rid of the monkey or tame him, either one.
Yes.
You can't make excuses that my monkey mind is not listening to me. It's reason because it's a monkey mind. Give it a few bananas and keep it quiet. You have to focus, that's all. There's no way around that. You just have to focus on what you're trying to accomplish, trying to absorb yourself in the holy name. Use the deck, read books and ideas about how you can develop more ability to focus. Sachinanda Maharaj has written a book called The Living Name. A lot of things there. We got so many books. The Bhagavatam also teaches you how the mind works and how to control the mind. So much. So get some ideas and then apply it, that's all. But the idea is to bring in the positive and push out the negative, that's all. And that takes some effort.
Okay.
Prabhupada made one statement: don't trust your mind, always distrust. If you distrust your mind, you'll be in a better position to control the mind.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, I'm here, but I'm gonna take a 1 second, actually a 30-second break here.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. So, Sakshi Mata, you can, when Maharaj comes, you can go ahead and ask your question, and then we have Sridevi Mataji.
Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I have this experience that when I'm steady in my chanting and my wake up time, sometimes my health becomes challenged, and other times, like recently, it happened that there is this controlling mentality that comes, like I'm doing nicely, I'm waking up on time, I'm hearing the holy name properly, and because of that, this false pride builds up.
Yeah.
And
As soon as
it
you think
makes
you're doing nicely, the next minute you won't be doing nicely.
I feel very demotivated. Everything is been
Yeah.
lost.
Just keep the mood and just keep chanting in the proper mood. Don't try to, if you're hearing nicely, good, continue. But don't start thinking I got it now. If you're thinking I got it, then you're gonna lose it because you can't catch Krishna. Krishna catches you. You have to be worthy to be caught by Krishna. That's all. Yeah, just hear nicely, pray to the Lord. Mind wanders, bring it back. You can also offer prayers. There's prayers to the mind, there's prayers to the holy name, there's prayers to the japa beads. There's so many prayers. All of these are available. we have a large resource of different prayers that can be used to facilitate. I was just listening to Srila Prabhupada today. He was talking about prayer. He says, don't think you have to be eloquent, learned, intelligent to offer prayers. Just offer prayers. You can even in broken language, using the simplest little language, you can offer prayers. But just offer a prayer sincerely, that's all. My dear Lord, I'm trying to chant your name, but I'm finding it so difficult. Please give me your mercy. That's a prayer.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, one more thing. I've been recently hearing a lot about 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. morning Japa program. So what exactly is that and how does it help a devotee?
We hear a lot about what program?
2 a.m. or 3 a.m. morning chanting, something like that. Morning chanting.
You want to chant that early?
No, I have been hearing a lot recently, so I just wanted to know what exactly is that and how it helps the devotee.
Well, the thing is, if you're too tired, you're not going to be able to keep the mind from wandering around. So make sure you get enough rest. And it's recommended we wake up an hour and a half before sunrise at least. And chant. The Brahma Muhurta hour is the best time for devotional practices. And so there are devotees who get up very early and chant. They start chanting at 2 or 3 in the morning. But if you can do it, great. But don't try to jump to a very austere program of chanting and expect to be able to control the mind and hear nicely. Do what you can nicely. But don't sleep beyond. You should get up an hour and a half before sunrise. So if sunrise is at 5:30, should be up by 4 o'clock. If sunrise is at 6 and 4:30.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take rest at a reasonable time. Said Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, every hour you sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight. Bhakti Vinod Thakur used to go to sleep 7:30 in the evening. And then wake up around midnight and then start chanting and writing books. Prabhupada went to bed later, but he was always up about after an hour and a half, 2 hours after he took rest. So can't imitate people on that level. But try to see what works for you. That's all. Experiment with time and see how best you can do that. But the secret is not to take rest late. That's the secret. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Be right back again.
Okay, Maharaj. Shri Mataji, so when Maharaj comes back, you can ask your question.
Haribol, I'm ready.
Guru Maharaj, I also find that nowadays, whenever I am sitting in the Srimad Bhagavatam class in the mornings, 5-10 minutes after the class begins, my head is nodding. I've become so sleepy that it is very difficult for me to stay awake, and I have to really throw water on my face and do all kinds of things just to stay awake. So I don't want to be like that, but somehow the speaker just puts me to sleep.
No, it's not the speaker. It's that when you sit down and you're relaxed and you stop moving around, you start to focus, then the mind starts to relax, and then you fall into a sleep state. When you're active, even if you're tired, if you're active, you can keep going. But when you relax, then you start falling asleep.
So
The
what
idea-
is to be done so that the sleepiness is eliminated? How to remain active?
Well, there is what they call emergency measures, but the idea is to get enough rest. So when you sit down, you don't fall asleep. I don't know. Just like you can take some water and put some water right on the eye, that helps. You can take your hand and just keep smacking your leg, and then that helps. You can stand up so you don't, you're more likely to stay awake when you're standing. Yeah, do the needful.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, we are 7 minutes past the hour. Is it okay to take one more question? We've got Amritam
Let's
Nam Mataji.
see. Yeah, I have to squeeze in a few things in the next half hour, so I'm running out of time. So maybe we can hold that off
Okay.
for tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, thank
To the
you.
class. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Lord Bhakti
Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad
Jai.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you very much for today's class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.